Welcome everyone to our online version of our annual water celebration. This tradition marks the beginning of the new program year at the First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. And in more normal times, we'd be holding this treasured ritual in our upper assembly hall, where we'd gather and merge small amounts of water that is meaningful to us. We usually start by marking the 4 directions in 4 separate places in the hall. Then, as we listened to water-themed instrumentals, our members and friends add the water that they've collected over the summer to the bowl that most closely matches the direction from which the water came. Water from Lake Superior or Camp Unistar would go in the North Bowl. Water from Cape Cod or a backyard in St. Paul would go in the East Bowl. Southern waters might be from as close as Lake Harriet or as far as Florida. And western waters might represent anywhere from Lake Minnetonka to the Pacific Ocean and beyond. Once everyone's had a chance to share their water and name where it's from, we bring the bowls to the front, blend the water from all the sources, and celebrate the life-giving, connecting nature of water. After the ceremony, we return this gathered water to the earth, releasing it in our front yard near the peace pole, where it rejoins the natural cycle, soaking down toward the water table, rising up in the grass, and evaporating into the sky to start anew. This year our water celebration overlaps with our monthly assembly theme of Renewal. As I mentioned in our September newsletter, fall is typically a time of return and new starts for congregations and schools. But the idea of renewal seems like a more challenging concept to embrace this year. I was recently in an online conversation about the theme of renewal with clergy from around the country, and I appreciated a thought shared by the Reverend Pam Phillips of Blacksburg, Virginia. She mentioned that many aspects of modern daily life, not just bill payments and subscriptions, long have been on a kind of automatic renewal. The reliability of the start of the academic year, a new season of concerts or sports or theater, regular social or congregational gatherings that keep us grounded. We may have gotten used to these things just happening. And the pandemic has disrupted so many of the ways that we mark time and make connections. This makes it a good time to talk about water, because water, left alone, is remarkably self-renewing. All these lakes we have around here were filled thousands of years ago by meltwater from the last ice age. But most would be shallow puddles today or gone altogether, without the automatically renewing forces of rain and snow. And it's not just lakes. Water is renewed almost everywhere. Burbling springs are recharged by rainwater percolating down to aquifers. Glaciers that calve into icebergs at the bottom are replenished by snow at the top. There is an elegance in these natural processes, cycles that predate humanity by billions of years. But as powerful and long-lasting as these cycles have been, we are all aware that a single late-arriving species of mammal has disrupted these systems of renewal. Rains that used to come around reliably no longer do so. The glaciers are too warm at the top and retreating at the bottom. And it is shockingly easy for a lake or aquifer to shrink or disappear. And of course, right now, across large parts of the American West, catastrophic fire is rushing in to areas where water has been scarce. Cycles of renewal matter greatly to our natural world. And cycles of renewal matter greatly to our individual human worlds. We are busy creatures of habit and connection. If something is worthwhile one year, we're likely to do it again the next time that season comes around. And it's not just annual cycles that we follow. The weekly patterns that humans have developed over centuries, such as work weeks and weekend congregational gatherings, right now look different from the way they used to. And the daily cycle of renewal, of activity and sleep, is critically important to our well-being. And doctors are noticing much pandemic-related insomnia, as routines are disrupted and anxieties have risen. These much smaller cycles are also no longer automatic. I see a great similarity in the climatic disruption of water's cycles of renewal and the pandemic's disruption of personal renewal. That similarity is the failure of human beings. It's frustrating and heartbreaking that so much destruction and so much death could have been avoided. It is hard to bear witness to and live with the consequences of such large-scale denial and disinformation. Many of those with the most power have known what to do about both crises and have largely failed to do it. Knowing this can be deflating and demoralizing. As the writer James Baldwin put it, we made the world we're living in, and we have to make it over. Knowing how daunting a task that is can make it really hard to renew ourselves. But human beings can solve human-created problems. And doing what we can with what we have, where we are, to paraphrase a quote attributed to Teddy Roosevelt, is a good place to start. This framing is particularly apt during the pandemic, given that where we are is pretty much where we're going to be for a while. And as we try to repair a world that seems to be unraveling, it can be helpful and sustaining to focus on what it is that gives us life right now. This is a question that Unitarian Universalist ministers sometimes ask each other. What's giving you life these days? What's saving your life right now? For me, it's just about anything that puts me in contact with the congregants I serve. That's one of the things that's giving me life right now. I'm appreciating meetings and email and phone calls more than I ever have. And in this time of extended apartness, all of us on staff love seeing photos and videos of the people who make FUS what it is. And so this morning, we are grateful to present you with a variation on our annual water celebration. Instead of sharing the actual water, we're going to share a couple of slideshows of photographs that have been collected. We'll get to see the many sources of water and the many ways that our folks got out into the world this summer. The slides will be shown before and after Reverend David's reflection. May this updated tradition bring you a sense of renewal as we enter this new season together.